Hi students, welcome back to Odelia Vlogs. Today we are discussing Hawthorne Experiments, which is both included in S1 semester and also for 5th semester BBA students. Elton Mayo is the father of human relations movement. An extensive investigation was started in 1924 at the Hawthorne plant near Chicago of Western Electric Company, and these experiments were set up to determine the effect of better physical facilities on productivity. Hawthorne experiments were a research program conducted between 1924 and 1932 at the Hawthorne plant of Western Electric Company, Chicago, USA. It was conducted by Elton Mayo and his team of experts in 4 phases, emphasizing the relation among people in the workplace and its impact on the productivity of the organization. The 4 phases of Hawthorne experiments are illumination experiments, relay assembly test room experiments, mass interviewing program, and bank wiring observation room experiment. We can study the first phase, illumination experiment. Illumination experiments were undertaken to find out how varying levels of illumination affected the productivity. The hypothesis was that higher illumination, productivity will increase. In the first series of this experiment, that is this illumination experiment, a group of workers were chosen in 2 separate groups. One group was exposed to varying intensities of illumination. Since this group was subjected to experimental changes, it was called experimental group. Another group called control group continued to work under constant intensities of illumination. The researchers found that as they increased the illumination in the experimental group, both groups increased the production. When the intensity of illumination decreased, the production continues to increase in both the groups again. The production in the experimental group decreased only when the illumination was decreased to the level of moonlight. The decrease was due to the light falling upon much below than the normal level. Thus, it was concluded that illumination did not have any effect on productivity. Now we can go to the second phase, that is relay assembly test room experiments. It was designed to determine the effects of changes in various job conditions in group productivity. For this experiment, 2 small groups of 6 female telephone relay assemblers were selected. Each group was kept in separate rooms. The study tested the effect of changes made in working conditions like working hours, rest periods, lunch breaks, etc. They were allowed to choose their own rest periods and suggestions. Productivity increased in both the rooms. It was concluded that social relationship among workers, participation in decision making, etc., had a greater effect on productivity. The workers developed a feeling of stability and a sense of belongingness. Next, we can go to the third phase, that is mass interviewing program. In this phase, about 20,000 interviews were conducted between 1928 and 1930 to determine the employees' attitude towards company, supervision, insurance plans, promotion, and wages. Initially, these interviews were conducted by means of questions such as, do you like your supervisor, or is he in your opinion fair, etc., and they got the answers yes or no. And hence they changed the method from direct interviewing to non-directive interviewing, where the interviewer was asked to listen instead of talking, arguing, or advising. The interview program gave valuable insights about human behavior in the company. It was concluded that productivity can be increased if the workers are allowed to talk freely about matters that are important to them. Next phase is bank wiring room experiment. The last experiment which is done by the researchers in the bank wiring room. For this experiment, a group of 14 male workers were placed under observation for 6 months. The pay of the workers were fixed on the performance of the group as a whole. It was expected that highly efficient workers would bring pressure on the less efficient workers to increase output and take advantage of the group incentive plan. However, the strategy did not work and the workers established their own standard of output. They decided a target which was lower than the company target. Why? The reason is, first one, fear of unemployment. If there would be more production per head, some of the workers would be put out of employment. Second reason, fear of raising the standards. Workers thought that if they reached the standard set by the management, they would again raise the standard. Third reason why the workers gave restricted output was protection of slower workers. The workers were very friendly on and off the job. The faster workers protected the slower workers by not overproducing so that they would not lose the job. Next is super satisfaction on the part of management. Management seemed to accept lower production rate as no one was fired for restricted output. So, the Hawthorne studies led to the development of human relations movement in business management. Now we can come to the conclusions of Hawthorne experiment. Excuse me. First one, the social and psychological factors are responsible for workers' productivity and job satisfaction. Next, informal relations influence the behavior and performance than the formal relations. Third one, employees. If there is a good communication between the subordinates and superiors, it will improve the relations and productivity of the workers. Next, employees will perform better if they are allowed to participate in decision making. Next, when employees are treated with respect and dignity, their performance will improve. Next, employees will also work more efficiently when they believe that the management is interested in their welfare. The final conclusion was that special attention and freedom to express their views will improve the performance of the workers. So, Elton Mayer's Hawthorne experiment is very important both in the first semester and in the fifth semester. You study this very well, it's very important, and how this Hawthorne experiments conclusions are applicable even now in any organization, that all we can study from this experiment. So we can wind up for today and we can see in the next session, and we will complete the module 1 in the next session. Thank you, students.